managing the Master Program Immersion for ESSEC in Southeast Asia. So very happy to be here. Today, of course, the key event is Anne-Flore's sharing later on the topic of strategy. But before that, I would like to, of course, give you a very quick intro about ESSEC Business School and what we do and what we offer. So let me quickly share my screen. All right, so ESSEC Business School, we have a few campuses, and one of them is actually in One North. Originally, ESSEC is based in Paris, in France, but we're no longer, only based in one location. So having a campus in Singapore, we offer a range of different master programs, and we're supporting a very wide network of alumni, not only in Asia Pacific, not only in Singapore, but in the region as well, connecting pretty much the European campus to Asia. A quick view of different, members of ESSEC and our alumni network. You can see we have students and we have many graduates who work in different industries, a very varied range of them. And a highlight of today's event, because the topic is in strategy, we will be focusing on the Master in Strategy and Management of International Business. But, to give you a broader view, ESSEC actually have a number of really wide top ranking program in different areas. So from Master in Finance to Data Science to Marketing, many of them are top 5 or top 10 ranked globally. All programs are taught in English, so you don't need to know French prior to joining ESSEC. A lot of times we will offer French or Mandarin in part of, as a requirement in the program to give students a taste, to enrich, your experience studying in a French school. But fear not, you don't have to have any prior language experience or language abilities before joining ESSEC. So many of the programs, would or may not require prior experience before joining. ESSEC follow a method called learning by doing. Actually, there are a lot of projects involved, and specifically, in Southeast Asia or in the Asia Pacific campus, we work with many different companies to give students that exposure, to connect them with real world, companies to get, more than just classroom learning experience. So for the strategy and management program specifically, it's really interesting because they do, the program itself is very intensive. It's only about 8 to 9 months. And they do a 7 months consulting project. So the school actually matched the students with one of our company partners, and they will be doing, consulting work in a team pretty much entirely during the program. So I'm not going to give too much details before the talk. I'll be staying throughout the event, of course, answering questions. If you have anything, you can quickly put it in the Q&A chat box, or I will also be staying behind after the talk. Unfortunately, of course, Anne-Flore today will be traveling. She's actually, at the moment flying. So this is a pre-recording of her talk. But if you have any questions, you can always, send your questions specifically to us. We will forward it to her and get back to you. Or if you have any questions about ESSEC admissions or the program in general, I'll be here to answer any question after her sharing. So back to the program, Master in Strategy and Management of International Business. Anne-Flore is the program director of this particular program that is ranked number 3 in the world at the moment. It has 3 different specializations, 3 different tracks. So corporate strategy, consulting, as well as managing digital transformation and innovation. So the talk today is mainly focused on strategy, but if you have any interest that is specifically, under one of these tracks, you're welcome to ask me directly for any questions after the event. We offer exchange program with different universities, as well as double degree. There are international business trip within the short curriculum. So for this program, it's quite intensive. It's very streamlined. It has really high return on investment because in terms of studying, timing that you have to commit to full-time learning is only about 8 months on campus in either ESSEC Singapore or ESSEC in Paris. And then, of course, like what I said earlier, there is a consulting or company mission project that is about 7 months long, throughout or in parallel to your learning experience on campus. And on top of that, it's really interesting, like many of the postgraduate program, ESSEC also has a mentorship designed in this curriculum. So students will be paired with a mentor doing their study in the Singapore campus. So it sounds very exciting, right? Let's not wait any further. Let me introduce, or let's the HeadHunt team to bring forward the Anne-Flore sharing.
Hi everyone, welcome to this masterclass. I'm very happy to be with you on a Saturday morning, evening, afternoon. I mean, wherever you are in the world, I'm very happy to be here with you today. So my name is Anne-Flore Maman-Larofi. A couple of words about me before I start. I am the academic director of one mastering program at ESSEC, which is a Master in Strategy and Management of International Business. So it's a program which is running on all our campuses, on our ESSEC campuses, both in APAC and also in France. And we also have a program in Rabat, Morocco. And basically, I'm also an alumni from this program, which I did in 2006. So I'm very happy to be with you today and to share my insights about client centricity. So for the little story, this is a snapshot of the class that I teach in the SMIC program. And this is one of my areas of expertise, which I do as a consultant. I also have my company, and which I developed as part of my PhD when I was a PhD student candidate, I would say, in ESSEC Business School. So today's subject is about, as you can see on the title, client centricity, and the question is would that be in the end the future of strategy conduct? So I would like to start with coming back to clients and consumers. So by the way, when we say client centricity, we should say C centricity, because beyond the C, you can put a client, a consumer, a customer, and even a patient. So patient would be for the pharmaceutical industry. Consumer would be for the B2C goods, market goods. Client, would be for the B2B industry. And also the luxury industry. So for those of you who are interested in luxury, never say a consumer, you only say clients. And the last one is customer, and customer is for services. So you see, beyond the C, actually, we have different realities. So for the sake of this presentation, I will use the word client, but you can put whatever C or patient instead of my client word. So clients, who are they is always a key issue for companies, because you can have a wonderful idea, a wonderful business idea. You can be super great at developing, products or services around that idea. You can have the best product in the world. If you don't have a market to buy, you're dead. So taking into account clients and consumers is something which is very, very important, especially because today we face some consumption and also business challenges. And then it's more and more difficult to grab, capture, and keep your consumers. And knowing that, you have something which is very important, which is showing up on your screen. So I'm trying to put my head away. Yeah, a little head. Yeah, better. Sorry. Knowing that it is 6 to 7 times more expensive to acquire a new customer than it is to keep a current one. So what does it mean? It means that for a company, when you have a client, you want to keep him or her, okay? Or it, if it's a B2B. You don't want this person, you don't want to see this person or this company go away, because going to get a new consumer is something which is very expensive. And when we say expensive, it's not only in terms of money, but it's also in terms of HR, human resources. Okay, so trying to acquire a new customer is 6 to 7 times more expensive than making an existing one buy again from you. So the whole rationale behind having a C-centric strategy is also to work on client retention. Okay, so having a loyalty rate which is higher. Also, one of the biggest challenges that we have in the 21st century with clients is that they are no more quiet. Clients nowadays, they speak on social media, they speak on many channels. They express when they are happy, they express, which is good, and they express also when they are unhappy, which is not so good. And you all know from, so from all the stories that you may have heard in the press, that you can really destroy your reputation in 2 minutes with a tweet. It's very, very fast reputation damage. And building the reputation might also be very fast. So you want to take advantage of that and to also, face the risk which is inherent to these new consumption trends. Another big trend that I want to stress out is sustainable consumption. So sustainable consumption, here you have an example of an eatable packaging for fries. Don't ask me how it tastes, I don't know. But basically, sustainable consumption is something which is very big today because, it's a trend. And you have to be yet very cautious about sustainable consumption because there is a discrepancy between what people claim and what people do. Like most people will say they would have a sustainable consumption and they want to consume sustainable products or sustainable brands. But when you check the data, the figures, actually, they don't. The transformation to the actual act of purchase is not always here. And this is not really depending on generations. Often we hear, Generation Z or Generation Y are more sustainable, cautious than the other ones. It's not true, actually. When you check the data, the real data, you have people in Generation Y who are very sustainable oriented, and you have people in Generation X or even the baby boomers who are also very sustainable oriented. So it's more a mindset, a way of living. And there are also big differences depending on countries. When you go in the developing countries or in the developed countries, it's not the same trend. Yet it's something very important to take into account for companies because sustainable is here. Even if people don't buy sustainable products, we speak about that. And again, the reputation of the brand and the company might be also made upon that. Another consumption challenge is collaborative consumption, consumption, the resale, repackaging, second-hand products, buying together and then reselling one another. So this is a big trend. Depending on countries, it's more important or less important. But in the end, it's a very important trend. So when you look at all that, okay, these are challenges, but you would tell me, okay, whatever the age of consumption, we've had challenges. So what is new in these challenges is we have something which is unrational in consumers, which is this one. It's like, even if people love your brand, they would still go for an option which is sometimes, better from their short-term perspective, like cheaper. So whatever you do, even if you have loyal consumers, even if they love you, at the end, you may lose them just because the brand next door is cheaper than yours. So all in all, that gives you just a snapshot of some. It's not all the consumption challenges. I could spend 20 hours just on that. But basically, those are components you want to take into account when you are in a business, currently. So when you are a company, you face consumption challenges like this one. And remember that it is very important to keep people because it's more expensive, to acquire a new consumer than to lose one. But you also face this. And this is competition. This is just to tell you that if you check the business of fast-moving consumer goods, and we are only with yogurts and ice creams and cookies, this is the reality of the market. Few actors. Okay, we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 actors. 9 actors. No, 10. No, 9. 9 actors. 9 actors. But look at the number of brands that they have. Look at the number of brands. What does it mean? It means that you have to differentiate yourself. You have to differentiate yourself as compared to your competitor, but also internally. If you check Nestle, look at Nestle, how many brands they have. So they have different portfolio, but like each bubble is one portfolio in the same product category, which means that you also have internal competition. Okay, so you need to differentiate yourself. You need to find a way to capture your clients, to capture your consumers. And the traditional way of doing business is no more, I would say, appropriate, or can be no more appropriate, because up to a couple of years, you know, you were pushing products towards consumers and people were buying from you. But that works in a world where, you know, you have, if you want to buy, I don't know, like, for example, yogurts, okay, you go to the supermarket, maybe you have the choice in between 3 brands, okay, you choose, one is with fruit, one with nature, and the other one is light, okay, diet yogurt. Okay, so you choose whatever you want in between the 3. Now you go to the supermarket, so I don't know which country you come from, but if you go to France, if you have ever the chance to come to France, go to a supermarket and go to the yogurt area. And if you go to Italy, you have to go to the laundry products area. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, the choice is so huge that the choice is not going to be made based on, you know, I only have one option per category. No. In a single category, you will have the choice in between maybe 10, 15, 20 options. So you have, as a client, I need to be seduced. You see my point? I need to find emotional things beyond my purchase, and no more only the simple choice because it's rational. This is the only one that I have. So those two components have made businesses evolve and have changed. Some of them changed their model. And especially the appearance of what we call the GAFA, as you know, and also all the startup companies which have created new businesses, I think, in terms of Uber or Airbnb. Uber, Grab in Asia. Sorry, I was looking for Grab in Asia. All those companies, they have developed new business models, and those new business models, they change the perspective in the way that it's no more everything which is made around our way of doing and our expertise as a business owner, but it's let's think about consumers first. Let's think about consumers first, and let's design something about consumers. And this is the whole thing beyond as I will explain later on, client-centricity. In my title, you also have the word strategy. So I question whether client-centricity is, you know, a new trend in strategy, or is it the future of strategy conduct? But you may question what is strategy. And to define strategy, you know, again, you can make 50 hours of class on strategy. I just want to share with you 3 quotes, which I think are very, very relevant to define strategy conduct. The first one is from Napoleon Bonaparte. So I'm sure you all know Napoleon. So he was a French military leader and then emperor in the 19th century. And Napoleon shared that the battlefield is a scene of constant chaos. The winner will be the one who controls that chaos, both his own and the enemy's. So basically, all the external environments is chaos. What I've said about competition, internal and external competition, and also what I've said about consumption trends is chaos. Okay, so you will win the battle if you control that chaos, your chaos, but also your enemy's chaos. So basically the consumption trends of your clients, of your competitors, and also your own clients and your own prospects. How do you do that? Being C-centric is one option. Okay, doing market research is also one, but it's part of C-centricity. Second quote that I would like to share, Sun Tzu, so a different military person. You know, strategies coming from military, and so I share military quotes. Sun Tzu, he said, every battle is won before it is fought. It's like a negotiation, by the way. You always win your negotiation before the negotiation actually happens. You prepare yourself. You need to be in anticipation, in proaction. Okay, so how to be proactive? You need data, you need insights, you need information, and you are going to anticipate what may happen in 10 years from now. It's too late. If you think today about a sustainable packaging for cosmetics or refillable packaging for cosmetics, it's too late. You should have thought about that 5 years ago so that you have time to develop it and know it's released. But know that you have some releasing some sustainable packaging, it's too late if you enter in there. Okay, so how do you go into this winning the battle before it happens? You have to listen to the market. You have to listen to what we call the subtle signs. Okay, the things, the signs which are not obvious, which are not said by consumers, but you observe, like every single morning of your life when you listen to the news, 10 minutes, okay, to the news, global, local news, I don't care. You should try to find one piece of information which might be useful for your business in the coming years. How is this piece of information, possibly something interesting or challenging for me? And this is being proactive. And when you listen to those subtle signals, you will be able to invent products even before clients think about the existence of such a product. And that is Steve Jobs. That is Steve Jobs. Okay, that is Apple. And the last quote which I love is Nelson Mandela. So Nelson Mandela is not a military guy, okay? You all know him. And he said something very, very human, I think, which is, if you talk to a man in a language he understands, that goes to his head. If you talk to him in his language, that goes to his heart. You don't make people buy with their head, you make people buy with their heart, okay, as I said before. So if you want to speak to people's heart, you need to speak your client's language. And to speak your client's language, you need to understand them. You need to think as if you were the client. And this is the whole point beyond being C-centric. So now I keep saying, this is the rationale behind C-centric. So I need to define for you what is C-centricity. So C-centricity starts with questioning first, who is the C? So I said the C might be the client, consumer, customer, or patient, but the C might be the person buying, the purchaser in B2B. It might be the user of the product, okay? So for example, the mom is buying the diapers, but the user of the diapers is a baby. It's also a little bit the mom because she's putting it on the baby, but still it's a baby. The information collector, the person who is checking for information, maybe it's the dad who compared all diapers, on catalogs or on YouTube, LinkedIn, whatever. The influencers, so all people who might influence the purchase, so including, of course, the key opinion leaders. And lastly, it might be the decision maker, very important in B2B. In B2B, the people who decide are not the people who use, usually. Okay, and it's not either the purchaser. It might be the manager, or it might be the CEO, depending on the size of the company. Okay, so first I need to define who is my C. Who do I want to be C-centric about? Do I want to be centered on the purchaser, on the user, on the information collector, on the influencer, or on the decision maker? And I need to choose. I cannot say I want all of them. If you choose everyone, you choose no one. Okay, the definition of a positioning is to position yourself. So it's to exclude some people from your sample. Okay, so this is targeting, if you want. When you target, you want to go for one person, one group of people, not 10 of them. Okay, so you need to choose. And once you have chosen, you are going to eventually develop a C-centric strategy, which is starting with a real, sincere, and deep understanding of your target clients' true needs, even the needs they don't know about yet. Sorry, there was a question in the discussion area. Then you have to identify which needs can be profitably met, because you want to make profit. Okay, we are not doing philanthropy here. Our objective is to make business, to get money at the end of the day. So we need to understand which needs can be profitably met, and this is going to depend on your company, also abilities, capacities. Then it's about mobilizing your business to supply solutions to these identified needs, and then dynamically adjusting your solutions as your clients and the market dictates. So what does it mean? In short, because it's a very long sentence to say something very simple. Yes, I think instead of my consumer, I do as if I were the consumer, okay, the client, and I'm going to design a product which is answering a need which is unmet, which I can profitably met, and I'm going to arrange all my company around that. Meaning that it's no more doing R&D for the sake of doing R&D, but R&D is going to listen to what the marketing team is saying. We understand that there is this trend, please find a solution for that. We don't speak anymore of product portfolio, we speak of client portfolio. We don't speak anymore of product managers, but we speak of cohort or group or segment managers. Okay, so the whole company is going to be reorganized around clients, around consumers, around customers. And this is the definition of C-centricity, putting back the client at the center of your strategic reflection. Even for those of you who may have had already a strategy course, maybe you know the Bcg Matrix. In Seasonality, the Bcg Matrix is different because we do it around consumers, no more around the market growth and the market share. It's going to be the share of the product in the segment and the growth of the segment. So it's the same, we transpose, but basically everything is thought around clients, around consumers. So you understand, when you are a startup, it's quite easy to do. I mean, quite easy. It's not easy, but it's not complex to do because you start your business, so you may arrange everything around that. But if you are a very big company like Pernod Ricard, who is going into Seasonality, maybe you know the wine and spirits company Pernod Ricard. If not, I encourage you to check online. You will see it's a very big company. Pernod Ricard, they are in the Seasonality approach right now. They want to reorganize all the services and all the business units around clients. That is a big challenge, and that is a big change with a lot of change management, because also some people are going to lose their job. Some people need to learn a new job, and you need to, to make change management basically. Okay. Alors, some examples of Seasonality. I'm just going to share with you two examples. One, which is a very silly example. I'm sure you all know that. Prepared salad, pre-packed salad. You know the bag where you have pre-washed salad inside. You open, you put in a bowl, and that's it. It's done. Okay. Okay. That was an innovation at some point. What happened is, one, actually, it's a French company who came up with that. A French company called Florette, with headquarters in the south of France, and they observed, people at home, and especially the women, because it was quite some years ago when traditionally women were cooking, and they observed that with women working more and more, it was more and more difficult for them to make salad, because I don't know, maybe in the respective country you still do it, but to wash the salad and then to use the stuff which is drying the salad is quite long and cumbersome, and maybe perceived as a burden for people who have long working hours. So they said we have to find a solution for that, and they designed this pre-packaged salad, pre-washed salad, okay, for just observing the market. So starting with reasoning as if they were a lady preparing the dinner. But then they kept observing women, and they found out that women, what were they doing? They were putting the salad in the bowl, and then they were adding some cherry tomatoes, shredded carrots, mushrooms, maize, corn. Sorry, guys. Corn. I mean, they were adding ingredients. And in the end of the day, they said, maybe there is something else we can develop. Maybe we can develop the pre-washed salad like this one, but with shredded carrots inside, or like 2 cherry tomatoes, inside the package, and you pay twice the price. Okay. So it was a way to capture value, just finding a solution for the client. So here you see me coming. What I do is I listen to my market. I anticipate what the market might be willing. I give them what they might be willing and what people are ready to pay for. I add value to the product, and the price is going to be disconnected from the cost. So I can make people pay whatever is felt as being useful to them. And that is the whole point. With a season-centric strategy, you can make people pay without thinking of the cost. It's about the value which is perceived in the product. That was an example. And the second example is sorry for the quality of the picture, but I took myself this picture coming from Singapore in an area which is next to our ESSEC campus. There is a chiropractic place, and I was reading the thing on the window because I was interested, by the way. And I felt that, on the bottom, on the very left, if you look down, sorry, it's written patient-centricity. So I made a zoom on. First of all, you understand. Okay. So why do you go for Seasonality? Why would you go for Seasonality? Well, you may be willing to put the customer at the center of your strategy for several matters. First of all, you understand the only way to create what we call a blue ocean, so to create a new market, to differentiate yourself from the competition, not to remain with all the gold fishes on the left. So to go in a new bocal, bocal, is is might be to go for C-centricity. Okay, so this is first reason. I want to develop my new market. I want to develop my new business model, and I want to be alone on that segment. And the only way to do that is to be C-centric, honestly, nowadays, for all the reasons I've explained before. But then why do you want to go for a blue ocean strategy? Well, first, because you want to capture value. You want to capture value, not spending more, making people pay more. Just adding a single ingredient, just adding a service, just adding something which is providing value to your clients is going also to make you, at the end of the day, have a higher turnover. So this is exactly why you work on C-centricity, to develop, to strengthen your value, the value of your company, the value of business. And also because if you are C-centric, you have higher chances to have happy consumers. And if you have happy consumers, if you reach the state of delight in the consumers, then you have loyal consumers. And I remind you, it's 6 to 7 times more expensive to acquire a new consumer than to keep a new one. So if you have loyal consumers, you spare money. So you increase the value of your business and you spare some money. So at the end of the day, you win on both aspects. And you, of course, have, you develop your company and you have this blue ocean, plus a blue ocean, which is profitable. And as I was saying, I'm not speaking about philanthropy. I'm really speaking about, business conduct here. So what are the 3 components of C-centricity? 3 components of C-centricity will be working on the customer experience, working on the customer value, so the perceived value out of the product, and working on the customer journey. So I decided to present you one specific aspect, which is about building value. So how do you build value? Well, this is coming from, if you check out, the history of consumption, and especially how we went into this value perception, you have first the stage of consuming commodities. When you consume commodities, you consume things which are vital, and you don't perceive any added value in the commodities. It's like, fuel in your car. You just put fuel to go from point A to point B, but there is no value perceived out of this. This is why we call it commodity. A commodity is something which is useful, but it's not valuable. It's just needed, I would say. Commodities are extracted. Okay, so we speak about petrol, we speak about water, we speak about coal, but it's about extractions. From commodities, we go into the world of goods. Goods are a little bit higher because in the hierarchy, because they are made, they are designed by people. So it's not a bulk thing, but it is the aggregate arrangement of ingredients, of commodities, to make a final product which might be consumed by clients. So they don't have a lot of effort. They don't have to do a lot of effort to use it. Okay, so goods are going to be made. From goods, then companies develop services. Okay, so you have a product which is prepared, which is pre-packaged product. Okay, and then you add a service to this product. A service is something which is delivered to the final consumer. Okay, and is something which is adding, it's starting adding some value to the client, but it's just something people pay for. Okay, you pay for a service, you pay for after-sale services. It's part of the price of the product. And the last stage is about providing people with an experience. And when you stage your products, you provide them with an experience. And here you are at the pure value, emotional aspect of consumption. And this is where, when you reach the stage of experiences, you disconnect again the price of your product and the perception of your product from the perception of a commodity, which is enhanced, if you want. Up to services, it's enhanced commodities. When you stage a product, it's no more a commodity at all. It's really an experience. It's something which is, by the way, very difficult to replicate. This is why you create your blue ocean. It's very difficult to replicate. So this is what we call building value. Okay, so building value is to go from the commodities to the experience. And focusing on experiences is a way to escape the red ocean and to escape the world of commodities and of cost focus. experience, you need to work on 2 dimensions. The first dimension is absorption versus immersion. So how much the consumer is involved in the process of the experience, okay? Immersion is the consumer is an actor of the experience, and absorption, the consumer is just an observer of the experience, okay? So this is the first dimension, observer versus experiencer, in the sense of maker, doing. The second dimension is also how the consumer is going to be participating, whether it's active participation or passive participation. Okay, so it's really related to the first one, but you will see that the examples are quite self-explanatory. So I will start with the first one, which is called entertainment. So the 4 experiences I'm going to present, we are in the world of experience, but we have 4 different types of experiences. The first one is entertaining consumers. So entertainment is at the crossroad of absorption and passive participation. And this is what you have in the flagship store of Louis Vuitton. So here you have a picture of the flagship store of Louis Vuitton, Place Vendôme. So that they opened in October 2017. And they said, so I read, it is very meaningful to that maison to come back to the location where its first store situated in 1854. So basically, it's to remember the origin of Louis Vuitton. They open back this store, and in this store, they offer various personalized products, and this is exclusive to the store. Okay, so the store was designed by a very famous luxury architect, which is called Peter Marino. Peter Marino has designed almost all Chanel boutiques. He's very, very famous in the area. It has a high ceiling with plentiful sunlight with beautiful touch. I read the description that they give. So inside you have a decoration with objects inspired by travel and furniture, such as a flying chair or leather carrier. And the consumer can find all the Louis Vuitton products. So in this boutique, they launched the collaboration with Jeff Koons, products designed by Jeff Koons. And in this store, you know, the consumers, they are a passive audience because they are not acting at all. They are not doing anything. But they are just looking and they are, I would say, witnessing, the signs and the signals of the history of Louis Vuitton and what is the brand about and what the products are about. It's, at the end, it's a very classical way of delivering an experience, this one. The second one, which is absorption but active participation, is the example of an exhibition made by Dior, which is called Couturier du Rêve. So it would be shoemaker of dreams. So it was celebrating the story of the 70th years of the story of the Maison. And it was exhibited at the Musée des Arts Décoratifs in Paris. And here you have this big exhibit about Dior, where he was coming from, and so forth. So there was a lot of explanations about the history of the company. You could learn about the historical evolution of the style of the Dior Maison, also with a lot of testimonies from the designers, etc. So in this experience, the visitors, they participated very actively because the learning process was done in a kind of interactive way. So people were just reading the thing, but they were learning things. So it was just about observing, it's about learning. You know, you get something. So this is why you have active participation. If you wanted to understand the exhibit, you had to participate in the exhibit. Then you've got the category of aesthetics, which is passive participation and immersion. So here you have the example of the Tiffany Blue Box Cafe, which is exactly as a place where Audrey Hepburn, you know, in the movie Breakfast at Tiffany's, where she is having coffee with a croissant. So they created a coffee with croissant at the exact place. And when you are in this place, which is all blue Tiffany, you know, the walls, you can see the pictures, all the walls are Tiffany blue. Basically, you feel like Audrey Hepburn having breakfast at Tiffany's. So it's just, you are immersed, and it's a passive participation because you don't participate to the brand, you don't do something, you just eat. But basically, you are immersed in the Tiffany's and in the Tiffany's authentic environment, where the place the movie has taken as the actor Audrey Hepburn. However, you are a passive participant. Okay, this is the whole idea. And the last one is called escapism, which is at the crossroad of immersion and active participation. So you are really immersed, you are going to do things, and you are going to participate actively to the brand also. The example that you have is the Van Cleef & Arpels school. I don't know if you know about this school, L'École Van Cleef & Arpels, located Place Vendôme. So you can go there, you can go for following a course, you can listen to professionals, but you can also learn about how to make a jewelry. So they really teach you about gems, and they really teach you about how to make a piece of jewelry. So you learn something, but you are actively, it's not about passive learning, it's about active learning, learning by doing, okay? And just for the little story, you can pay to go there and you can take your courses, but you can also, if you are a VVIP consumer of Van Cleef & Arpels, they take their VVIPs there to get the knowledge, to get the teaching. Okay, so it's one way to develop an experience for the very important clients. Okay, so this is what we call reinventing consumer experience. You see many opportunities. I took the examples of the luxury industry because this is where experience is pushed. I mean, the boundaries of experience are pushed. But of course, you can do that also for food or for other sectors of activities. Alors, the reason why you go for C-centricity is also because you want to have client empathy to develop your business. So, and actually I should have put the title the vice versa. C empathy for C-centricity, right? You need to be empathic to be C-centric. So what is client empathy? Is cognitive empathy. So meaning I try to see the world through your eyes. So trying to see the world through the eyes of the clients. Then it's about emotional empathy. I try as a company to feel what you feel as a client. And the last one is empathic concern. So I am motivated to act. These are the three things you should do if you want to be C-centric. Okay, you cannot be C-centric if you are not cognitive empathic, emotionally empathic, and if you don't have empathic concern. Okay, so it's about feeling like your consumers, it's about thinking like your consumers, and it's about being able to act for your consumers. It's not so easy. Eh? Alors, this is a question that I asked at the very beginning. Is it a golden nugget? Is being C-centric a golden nugget? Is it, always a win-win-win situation? Alors, C-centricity, so is it the future of strategy? You've heard me. C-centricity is complex. It requires a complete shift of thinking. So if you are a big company where the cost of change, the change cost is higher than what you can get, from changing, it might not be so useful. Also, you have to know that if you are in the commodity market, it's useless. You've seen, we go from commodity to experience, and with C-centricity, we work on experiences, we work on value. So I cannot be C-centric, or it's completely useless to be C-centric in a business area where there is no perceived value from the consumers. If consumers don't value added services, if you want, it's useless to go C-centric because you're going to add fancy things for people who don't care about that. So at the end of the day, you do great things, but people don't care. So in the end, it's completely useless. Also, it's costly, but it's taking time. And it's very, very costly to change from a traditional strategy to a C-centric strategy. So you need, and this is painful to hear, you need to be ready to lose money during the first years. You are going to see your turnover decrease, and then it's going to be a boom. But first, I mean, the curve is going to be that, and then that, okay? So it's like a V shape, if you want. But you are going to lose money. So if you don't have a lot of cash flow, if you're not ready to lose money, if your shareholders are not ready to lose money during a couple of years, it won't work. Okay, so these are, reasons for some companies not to go C-centric. So what do you do if you don't go C-centric? I've told you at the very beginning, it's completely suicide. It's complete suicide to not think about your consumers. Well, if you don't want to be C-centric, you can be C-focused, which is, I would say, the first step towards C-centricity. Being C-focused is not putting the client at the center of your reflection, but it's about caring about your consumers, caring about what they want to, about what they would like, or caring about their satisfaction. It's about conducting some market research. It's not about using the market research to predict what might be the market in 10 years and to anticipate, etc. Everything I've said, but it's still working on client satisfaction. Okay, so don't be afraid. If you cannot be C-centric, you can be C-focused, and it's that they develop to enhance the patient experience. And to do that, they are patient-centric. So all in all, is it a golden nugget? For some companies, it might be, but you need to be ready to take the risk. You need to have a solid finance foundations if you want to change from normal to C-centricity. And if you are a newcomer on the market and if you want to create your blue ocean, yes, this is a solution. But don't forget, and that's my last quote from a military strategist, Karl von Clausewitz, the greatest enemy of a good plan is the dream of a perfect plan. Always remember that you cannot plan everything when you do business, and sometimes you plan to be C-centric and you have to change and you go back to normal, and sometimes you plan to be normal and you have to be C-centric and you need to adapt. But be ready to challenge yourself, be ready to be humble in your business conduct. And being C-centric is actually all about that. It's about being humble, listening to the consumers. The consumer is the king, and he's the one who is going to bring added value to my business. Thank you, guys. I'm done with my presentation. Thank you for listening.
Great. So I hope we all learn a little bit about the C-centric client consumer focused strategy. So back to Anne-Flore. Basically, this is a glimpse of one of the course in the SMIB program that Anne-Flore is the program director of, Master in Strategy and Management of International Business. Okay, so I think I have a little bit of more time to continue and possibly do to answer any questions. So feel free if you want to know more or have any questions, do type in your questions, and I will continue my little presentations and talk a bit more specifically about the strategy program. Okay, so in ESSEC, Master in Strategy and Management of International Business, it's a program designed for all students. So you may or may not have a bachelor degree in business. Fun fact, actually, many of the students coming to this program prior to joining ESSEC, they were engineering students, they were law students, they study something that is completely non-business related. So many of them uses this program as a point to pivot their career into something slightly different. So not what they were previously trained. So use this as a stepping stone to move into a different direction in their career, focusing more on the strategy or more on the consulting type of work. So this is one of the students, sample of our graduate last year coming from NUS. She was previously more of an econ student. And then after ESSEC, her focus is always very much in consulting. So you can see she did a consulting project and then some internship experience. And then she ended up landing a role in consulting after finishing ESSEC. So as you see, the curriculum, usually if you have a background of a 4-year degree, you can join in the 1-year track. In this program, because of the accreditation of the Higher Ministry of Education in France, students must have 5 years in total of higher education in order to receive this particular degree. So with that, if you have a 3-year bachelor degree, you will have to join the 2-year program. If you come from a 4-year degree, then you can directly join the 1-year track. So the difference is the first year is more of a foundation. There will be a wide range of experience. Students can do an internship in the summer before they go on to the second year. Then the second year is really the focus of the specialization. So you will pick a particular track, corporate strategy, consulting. Both of these 2 tracks are offered in both Singapore and in Paris. The last track, managing digital transformation and innovation, is only available in the French campus. So if you decided to go on to this track, the only option is to spend the 8 months in France. And then throughout this program, of course, within the on-campus learning experience. So you may ask, with COVID, what's happening now? Actually, in ESSEC, everything is taught in person. We still prioritize face-to-face teaching. So students are back on campus and they are taking classes, of course, with social distancing, with the following the government regulation, but most classes and the experience are actually done face-to-face. With both campuses, we have a full facility and full resources available. So alumni, career service manager, or the staffs available for students based on the location you are at. But of course, if you decided you would like to study in France and then you want to come back to work, obviously you can use both career services and tap into the staff in both locations. So you may want to keep your option open. So perhaps you want to start looking for internship in France or in Europe. Many students also consider working in perhaps in UK or in Luxembourg, not only in France itself. Or if at the end, you don't find something that you prefer, or after your internship, you prefer to come back to Asia, then obviously the Singapore campus, we are a full-fledged campus with resources that is available. So students can tap into the events that we host in person, online, as well as the database that we have, the job portal that we have that's available for all students. So an example of the courses that what students will go through when joining ESSEC. Like what I said, this program may or may not require students to have prior experience. So if you are a fresh graduate, if you don't have much work experience, most of the time, most likely we would require the students to start from year 1 to join the 2-year track. But if you have work experience already, and if you're very clear about your career motivation, your objectives of why joining a master, obviously, then joining the 1-year program will give you a higher return on investment. The time off that you will have to take is only about 9 months, from September to April. That's the duration of the program that you will have to commit to spend on campus. Then after that, you can go on to do an internship, or you can work full-time immediately. So all the, for most of the courses are available in both Singapore and in France. The difference between the 2 campuses is the setting will be different. So obviously, the case studies or in the classroom, the discussion is more Asian oriented if you join the Singapore campus. So when you talk about negotiation, obviously the setting is set most likely in Singapore or in the APAC region, how businesses, what is the common practice set in Asia versus in the French campus, they most likely just focus in Western practices. So if you're open-minded, obviously both campuses offer similar curriculum. If you have a specific location in mind, obviously I would choose that one based on where you would like to work afterwards. So you can maximize the opportunities, meeting people, doing internship or doing interview, doing your program. So pretty much along the programs, you will have not only projects that we bring companies onto the campus, but there are also a number of talks and networking events that students are required to participate. So really a chance to not focus only on the classroom experience, but overall to help you be ready professionally by the time you finish the program. We aim to help the students to achieve 100% employment rate by the time they graduate from the program, which within a very short period of time. That's why for us, it is really important to be career oriented. So by choosing ESSEC, obviously we want you to succeed, and the resources and the structure of the program is designed that way. Okay, so scholarship admissions, these information you'll be able to find on the website. Just a quick highlight, like most of graduate business programs, for this, we will require a GMAT, GMAT, or a GRE test in order to apply for admissions. So if you haven't, or if you're not aware of these exams, I recommend you to do some research. Simply Google it, you will find a lot of information. We do have scholarship based on students' nationality and based on your experience and background. So they are the ESSEC-based scholarship. There are also French government based scholarship. So the deadlines are available pretty much based on the type of scholarship that you are aiming for. So you can find more information on their relevant website. And of course, student loan or part-time jobs are sometimes also available. If you're interested to talk to one of the students, I encourage you to visit our website. You'll be connected directly to a current student. You can talk to them directly. If you have any questions, we will be back on campus. We are actually, taking alternate week schedule. So if you would like to visit us and schedule a campus tour, feel free to connect with me directly via LinkedIn or WhatsApp. I will be available to schedule a time to give you a walk around to see our campus in One North. Okay. And for a question that is related specifically about the talk earlier on C-centric strategy, of course, I'm not an expert in this topic. So what I would do is I can refer your question back to Anne-Flore and we will get back to you. Or if you would like to attend for, or to connect with her directly, she regularly offers, info sessions and different webinars as well. We have an open house event that is coming up that's online. You can log in to speak to her directly in person if you like, or if not, we will get back to you, regarding your questions on this particular topic.
Thank you, Sonia and Dr. Anne, for your sharing today. We hope you've enjoyed today's session and will now invite you to participate in our feedback poll. Please give us your honest feedback so that we can further improve on the Master's Experience series. The feedback poll should be popping up on your screen, so please take a few moments to share with us your observations. The feedback is important, so we really appreciate you taking time to do this. We just wait for a few more seconds for more responses to come in. Thank you for your feedback and for joining us today. This Master's Experience series is proudly brought to you by HeadHunt in partnership with ESSEC Business School. Please join us at our next session on Thursday the 13th on the topic of Smart Nation for Better Living from Nanyang Center for Public Administration. Please sign up early on our website, postgrad.sg. With that, we will end today's session. This is Tammy signing off. Bye.